So, first of all, I'd like to thank Glenn very much. We really appreciate David and I being able to be here today. And we're really looking forward to hearing all of the discussion because I think these discussions are very, very important. I'd like to bring greetings from two other areas in Saskatchewan, from my friend Warren Crossman from Yorkton, who regretted he was unable to be here today. He leads a small peace group called Living Peace Matters, and he's a kind of part-time clergyman, social activist, and they do a lot of charitable type work in the city of Yorkton, and they do some solidarity work with people in Cambodia. And then I'd also like to bring greetings on behalf of Michael Murphy, who is the coordinator for the Saskatoon Peace Coalition. And that's one of the organizations that we work with from Regina when we want to have province-wide campaigns. So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention one of our recent campaigns in Saskatchewan. About 4 years ago now, we had a brigadier general in Saskatchewan who was determined that students should now be studying in school to get their military training. So we decided in the peace movement in Regina that we would campaign against this. And then we enlisted our friends from the other places. And then using our Saskatchewan Peace News, we sent out our Peace News, like we always do across the province. And we had signatures against that training from 98 different communities across Saskatchewan. And we collected up between our three centers and other people helping us from these other communities, over 2,000 signatures. And we took it to the legislature. And when there was a motion in support of the military training, there wasn't one single member of the legislature who supported us. None of them. Both Sask Party and NDP voted with the government to have the military training in the schools. Okay? Since then, some of the NDP members aren't the same as they were before, and today the vote might be a little different, I don't know. But at that time, the whole legislature voted as a bloc because the NDP did not want to be seen as challenging the military. Okay? But we had made a lot, we ended up, I didn't expect such a campaign would get so much traction. But we ended up doing a lot of interviews, and the word went out, and there was lots of talk, but the government was insisting they're going ahead. So they went ahead, but what killed the program was the students voted with their feet. Okay, so they wanted 40 students enrolled in the first class. They got 10, and some of those 10 dropped out. Okay, and that killed it. At first they said, well, we're just temporarily going to suspend it, but it's really a dead duck now. You see, so sometimes, you have to have faith that what we're doing the right thing. And we have to keep being guided by the fact that we're doing the right thing. And not worry what it seems everybody else, even though it looks like we're fighting against, we're trying to go upstream in a river that's going downstream. Okay, so one thing we did recently in one of the groups in Regina, I was asked to produce a card to support the campaign against to support the treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons. So this is a card I came up with, and we're distributing it from the 3 different Regina peace groups. We have 3 active peace groups in Regina. We have Making Peace Vigil, which religiously distributes either a peace or justice leaflet every Thursday at noon in downtown Regina. And they usually distribute about 200 of those leaflets. So that's what one group focuses on. The second group is Peace Quest Regina, which I'm also a member of. And Peace Quest Regina is concerned about what I would call questions of culture and peace. And sometimes will organize some events in its own name. Then the group that I lead with David is the Regina Peace Council, which has a history going back to 1949. We're very proud of the fact we have one of the last peace newsletters in Canada, because we believe that if you want to reach people, there still is no substitute for giving someone something on paper. And like, I use Facebook, I use email, but if I want to organize something and really get people out, I got to get on the phone, I got to talk to people, and I have to get it into the Peace News and maybe send around letters. And that's why sometimes at our events, we're having the same attendance as what you're having in Winnipeg. You know, and I'm not saying that in a negative way. But I think we still have to use the old methods and then combine them with the new methods. You know, of course, I think in our Peace Council, we have to look at how can we make better use of the new methods too, and maybe have a blog or website. So that's the other 2 peace groups in Regina, Making Peace Vigil and Peace Quest Regina, both have websites, but we don't. I think the big thing for us now is what to do about Canada's foreign policy. I think that's got to be our central concern. And so we're really glad with this idea coming from Winnipeg of having a Prairie Peace Partnership. And I think we have to focus as a broad peace movement across Canada on the question of Canada should not support regime change or government change of other countries. That is illegal internationally. It's illegal according to the law in many countries. And we wouldn't want someone coming here to upset our choice of government. And while I didn't vote for Trudeau, how dare anybody come to Canada to say we couldn't have the government that was elected? So we have no business trying to foist our opinions on people in other countries. Let the Venezuelans and the Syrians and the Iraqis and the Libyans choose their own government without interference from the West. Like you guys, this year, like our Regina Peace Council joined the BDS. We've always had, as part of our program, support for the Palestinians, but we never were that involved as before. We initiated a rally on January 30th in Regina in support of Ahed Tamimi and all political prisoners. And probably in a couple weeks, we're going to help initiate another rally on the Palestinian issue, because we think it's critical that there be more attention drawn to what Israel is doing. Trying to think if there's anything else. one of the main things that we're looking at as a Peace Council is how do we go from being a small group where we're in some ways still quite isolated to having the kind of impact that is needed from the peace movement. And what we've done in the last couple years now is we started sponsoring public meetings again. And that's an area we hope to be able to coordinate with Winnipeg, because if speakers come across the country and make numerous stops, it becomes something we can afford. But it's just prohibitive if they only come to one place. So we have to, this idea of cooperating across the prairies and across the country, I think is crucial. Another thing I should mention is at the end of the month, on May the 30th to June the 1st, there's going to be a big conference in Regina as part of what some old-timers would know as the Learneds, the meeting of the social sciences and humanities. There will be 7,000 people coming for the conferences of the social studies and the humanities. And the Canadian Peace Research Association will be meeting at that time. And some of the presentations are going to be very key, dealing with Canadian foreign policy. And I can say that because I'm presenting a paper myself on Canadian foreign policy, and I'm sure what I will say will be interesting. But aside from that, pardon my humor, there will be many really worthwhile presentations. For example, Tamara Lawrence, who is now a PhD student in Waterloo, will be talking about the environmental costs of Canada's defense policy. Because what she's going to explain is while the government is not spending very much on the environment, actually, Canada's defense, so-called defense budget, or the military budget, has gone up considerably. But we don't discuss that. And the last federal budget, they increased the military budget again. But our media and our political so-called leaders did not see that as something fit for discussion. Nobody in the House from any party thought that that was something that Trudeau should be challenged on. So, like I say, we've got these cards. I've got some extras. I've got some of our newsletters there. Everyone's welcome to take them. And and if you have events going on in Manitoba, I'm very pleased to put that information into our newsletter, because we do have a mailing list that's national, actually. We have every province in the country, we have some people on our mailing list. Okay, so thanks again, Glenn.